Welcome back. It's day 30 of the challenge and you stuck with it. Great job, congratulations. So I just want to thank you for taking the chance on the channel and sticking with the challenge with me. And I hope that my goal with this challenge to help you to find a solid foundation and really for the practice to start to become something that's part of your regular routine is something that feels more feasible for you now. The most common question I get asked after this 30-day challenge is, what's next? What do I do next? Where do I take my practice? So I created the Conscious Movement community and the What's Next course just for you. Once you complete this What's Next course, you'll be then introduced into the Level 2 course, the Level 2-3 course, and that's when you'll work in the arm balance course, handstand course, the chakra series. So this course of study is the most complete course that I've put together. On YouTube, I really just have like random videos that won't really help you to progress. Well, they will help you in your practice, but it isn't a course of study. So I highly recommend you check that out. I'm gonna put the link below in the description, or you can go to my website, Yoga with Tim, and then just up at the top, click the Conscious Movement community banner. So it's going to be free for the first 2 weeks to check it out, so you can do the What's Next course and start to explore some of the other content on there. I think that you'll find that this is the best way to take your practice and your journey with me into the future. So let's get started. Day 30. Hey, welcome back to Yoga with Tim. I'm joined here again with Jacob, and today we're going to do the prep work to work up to a pose called Supta Virasana and maybe even Urdhva Dhanurasana. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. I don't know if we'll have enough time. We got a lot going on, so we'll just see. Okay, so to start off this one, we'll start off in child's pose. So when we teach teachers, we teach them about component parts in their bodies, at least from the school of yoga that I studied and ended up teaching for a while. But when we go into these more advanced poses, we want to educate and warm up these different component parts of our body, parts of our body that we'll need to do these different actions that we're going to do. So we're going to have to warm up the shoulders a little bit and warm up our hip flexors to be able to go into Supta Virasana and Urdhva Dhanurasana. Downward facing dog. So to warm up the whole body, we'll do sun salutations today. But before we start saluting the sun, just do a little bit to educate the core. Shift into plank pose. Stack your shoulders right over your wrists and hold there for 5 breaths. Reach down evenly in your hands. So start to activate your arms. Push down into your knuckles. Turn your inner armpits forward and spread your collarbones. When you do that, your middle wants to sink. Not Jacob's, because we already established that he has abs of steel. And no matter what he does with his limbs, his abs will always be engaged. But for the average man, woman, the more that we start to open up our chest, the more the ribs will start to stick out. So draw back in there. Okay, now let me see if you can lift your left leg up an inch without losing the connection to of your core. Then change legs. Raise your right leg up an inch. Set that foot down and stretch back to downward facing dog. Then inhale into plank and lie down onto your belly. Now let's wake up the core muscles in your back too, because you might not have thought, but your transverse abdominis goes all the way around. It's your abdominal corset. Stretch your arms back behind you and then lift your shoulders, head, chest up off the mat. So now let's educate these little tiny muscles in the back of the shoulders, your external rotators. So squeeze the back of the armpit in and down, and then lift the hands up an inch without losing that squeeze. If the squeeze is lost, the shoulder want to roll in like this, which again we established is a good look for if you're trying to take sexy Instagram photos. But if you want to practice yoga, it's bad for you. So keep those shoulders rotated instead of this way. Okay. Then
Then bring your hands next to your side ribs and roll through into up dog, upward facing. Keep that same rotation of your shoulders. Downward facing dog, stretch back. Then walk your feet all the way forward to the front of your mat. Inhale, flat back, elongate your spine. Exhale, fold forward. Press down through your feet and inhale, come all the way up to stand. Exhale, Samastiti. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back and lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Bend your knees, look forward, jump or step up to the top. Inhale, Ardha. Exhale, fold. Press to stand, inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, Samastiti. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back and lower to Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Now from down dog, step your right foot all the way up by your right thumb. Come up onto your fingertips. And let's warm up the thoracic spine a little bit with a twist. So first, float the arms back behind you, wake up your core again, chest open, turn inner arms to outer arms. Then set the left hand down and twist. Take your right arm up. Bring your right hand back down, then lift from your belly and come up strong to the midline for crescent. Raise your arms. In this crescent, I want you to bend your back knee a little bit and reconnect into your core. So your rib cage aims straight down. Like remember when we practiced keeping the rib cage balanced right over the pelvis. Okay, now keeping that, start to stretch your back leg longer. You might even have to lift yourself up a little out of the pose to get the back leg to straighten all the way. But try not to let your rib cage tip forward. Good, then bring your fingertips back down to the mat. One last little variation here. Turn your back heel down for warrior one. Before you come up, draw your right outer hip back, reach the chest forward, and then come up strong through the midline. So now in this pose, we've done like the opposite. We've forced this back leg straight right away. So see if you can still get the same height through both sides of your rib cage, back and front. And then start to bend your right knee over the front of your ankle without losing the connection, the length of the back leg. Good, Vinyasa, hands to the mat, step back. Or remember, you can always skip Vinyasa, just go straight back to down dog. Step your left foot up by your left thumb. Crescent, inhale, come up. Good, then drop your arms down at your side and lean your chest out over your knee. Back leg straight now. Turn the blades onto the back. Set your right hand down and twist, take your arm up. So keep lengthening out, straight out through the midline as you rotate. Then bring your left hand down again, and then come back into crescent. I accidentally threw an extra crescent on this side, but you're gonna be super warmed up now, so that's cool. With a little bend in your knee, knit in those front ribs and bring your head up on top of your spine at the same time. Good, now start to stretch this back inner front leg longer without giving up the integrity of your core. Can you lift up that leg a little higher? Breathe. Nice job. Then bring your hands back down to the mat and set up the back heel for warrior one. Then before you go up, turn this left outer hip back, reach your heart forward, and then come up into warrior one. So again, the back leg is straight in warrior one. Inner kneecap lifted, heel bone rooting. Integrity of the core from crescent. Then see if you can start to lunge a little bit deeper. Maybe without losing the back leg. Good job. Bring your hands back down. Step back to dog or out of vinyasa if you're working on upper body strength. Good. Bend your knees, look forward. Jump or step up. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Come all the way up to stand, Samasthiti. Surya Namaskar B, inhale into chair pose, bend your knees. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back, elongate. Step back and lower to Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Step your right foot for warrior one. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Step your left foot, warrior one. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Then step your right foot up to your right thumb. And step your back foot a little bit closer for Parsvottanasana. Then come up onto tall blocks on your fingertips. If tall blocks aren't enough to get a flat back, then you could use a chair or a stool or something so that you can actually get your spine to look flat like this, like I lay a foam roller onto your back and it'll line flat with your spine. Good, so hold here in your length. And then I would argue that it's better to keep a prop and to train your body to get stronger using the prop in the proper line than it is to do it without the prop and go funky into the pose. So I would also think that science and everything else agrees with that too. Only some weird yoga teachers who are anti-props would disagree with that. Okay, so now take your blocks and slide them a foot in front of your foot and then raise the back leg up. So we want to get the core to work properly here. So the blocks are helping us so that we can keep the length so that we're not hunched over. If you hunch over, you're not using the right muscles. So let's fire the muscles of the spine. Now come up onto the fingertips on your block and reach your heart even more forward and then push back through this back heel and roll the left inner thigh up. Come on, lift up the front of your spine, get longer. You got it. Hold there. Now see if you can take one arm back without losing the length of your spine, without losing your mountain pose line. It should look like from your back leg to your spine, you're doing this. Then set your right hand down and stand in mountain, or whatever hand was back. Good. So feel what mountain pose is like. It should look like that, but just tipped over and then with one leg in front of you. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back to dog or take a vinyasa. Good, then step your left foot up by your left thumb. Step your back foot a little bit closer. Straighten your left leg as best you can and come up onto blocks or a chair or whatever you have to do to get a flat back. Then spread across your collarbones. Breathe the legs longer, stretch down evenly through your feet. Then here we go, slide the blocks a foot in front of your foot. You got it. And then lean into it, step that back leg up. Turn the right inner thigh up to the ceiling. Reach your chest forward, keep lengthening. Keep lengthening, and then maybe you can take one arm back and hold. 2 more breaths. And come all the way up to stand. Good, mountain pose. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step your left leg back into a lunge and lower your knee down. Good. Now in this position, come up onto blocks, or based on your proportions, if you can get the stretch well on your fingertips, that's fine. But in this first one, I just want you to sink your hips towards your right heel. Point the left toes back and just hang out there. See how far the hips can translate forward. That just means move forward in space, translate forward without losing the grounded quality in your left shin. Lift up your belly. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, that's even better. Oh, man. Oh, dang. Okay, then from here, bring your hips out of the pose a little bit. I'm getting excited about how deep he's going to go. Bring your hips back out of the pose. A little more, all the way back over your knee, and then bring your left heel to your butt. Wait a minute. Right knee stays bent. Uh-oh, we're losing it here. Yeah, right knee bent, and then bring your left heel to your butt. Okay, now see if you can reach back with your hand for your foot or your ankle.
I was getting excited too.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Hopefully we'll fix this in editing. Okay, so now start to roll the chest open. Good, and release that. Change sides now. Left foot forward, right knee down. All right, so just start to let your hips melt forward towards your heel. Don't get weird about it, but just hold there for 5 breaths. And then start to come out of it. Bring your hips back over top of your right knee. And then bring your right heel to your buttock and reach back with your left hand for your foot or your ankle. And release. Okay, cool. Then let's practice Virasana. So come onto your hands and your knees. And place your hands in front of you. Can you do Virasana?
I'm gonna give it a shot.
Okay, let's give it a shot. We're going to start off on these taller blocks, and then we'll see how it goes for you. So we're going to start off like with one block stacked up on top of the other. Point all 10 toes back, and then start to sit your buns back.
It is pretty. There's plenty high.
Okay. Okay. So just feel what we want, what we're looking for, Jake and I are looking at, we want to make sure that the knee doesn't feel like it's losing its space, like it's collapsing. So, you know, through doing poses repetitively, we can start to learn places in our body where we have to be more careful. So we all have like different areas that we like have tweaked through. For me, it's like surfing or skateboarding. I have to be like super careful in certain parts of my body. Even though yoga is healing and healthy, if the poses aren't done well, you can actually aggravate the injuries, make the injuries worse. So we're just making sure that as he sits back, it feels like on both sides of the knees, it feels nice and even, like there's space. Okay, so you should feel like that for you at home. Then interlock your fingers in front of you, turn your palms inside out and reach your arms forward. For some knees, like if you have like a knee replacement or like real bad situation, you might not ever sit like this. You could just sit with your legs crossed. Then raise your arms up. Now as you're raising your arms, turn from your triceps forward, roll the outer arms forward, and make sure that the ribs didn't push forward. Again, for Jacob, not an issue. He's got those ribs held in as he stretches his arms. Bring your arms back down now. Change the interlock. Take the other index finger on top, turn the palms, and reach up. Then bring your arms back behind you and walk your hands back a foot behind you as you lift your hips up. So this is the preparation for Supta Virasana. Roll the shoulder heads back. Reach through your hips down into your knees and lift from your belly up to your chest. Good, then lower your hips back down. Walk your hands back towards you and then come onto your hands and your knees. To release your knees, stretch one leg back first, hold, and change legs, stretch the other leg back. Good, then downward facing dog. All right, now hop to a seated position. Oh, fancy, then lie down onto your back. All right, cool. So we're gonna practice the preparation for Urdhva Dhanurasana. First, lift your hips up and roll, grab a hold of the sides of your sticky mat. Lift your hips, grab the sides of the mat, and then roll from the inner arm to the outer arm. Roll the inner thighs down and pretend like you're holding like a wide block in between your knees, so don't let the knees splay out. Good, then lower your buns back down. All right, now we're gonna practice just the position of the arms. So place your hands under your shoulders with your index fingers pointing towards your toes. Okay, now if you have tight shoulders, like me, I got really tight shoulders from surfing, so to get my hands, just to get my hands in this position is difficult. My elbows wanna turn out, my neck gets all weird. So if you're in the same boat as me, work on turning your elbows in while you spread your collarbones. So as those elbows turn in, the upper chest opens and the arm bones drop into the socket. Now lift your hips up, keep that rotation and see if you can lift up onto your head for just a breath. Pause there, then turn the elbows in again, be light on the head. Then lift up an inch off your head and then lower back down. Watch out, head. All the way back down onto your back. Good job. Okay, so that little head step that we do is only okay if you don't have any neck issues. If you have like a history of cervical compression, it's not a good idea to put weight on your head, then you'll have to just skip that little head step and hover. But it's a good step to practice as long as you don't sink all of your weight into your neck. Okay, so position the hands again. Good, turn those triceps in. Feel the space for your collarbones, then lift your hips. And then come up onto your head for a breath. Reach the crown of the head down and coil the upper spine in, and then see if you can lift all the way up. And lower back down. Great job, that's awesome. Okay, cool. Now gently hug your right knee into your chest and stretch your left leg out along the floor. So that pose requires a lot of opening in your shoulders. It requires a lot of opening in the front of your hips and your quads, and a lot of mobility in your upper spine. So if you feel like it didn't come well, like it was shaky and you weren't able to get the back bend, change legs now. Bring the left leg in, stretch the right leg out. Then just keep practicing the more basic back bends, and over time that pose will become accessible. Remember, we're practicing ahimsa, we're practicing contentment. We don't want to try to jam ourselves into something that our bodies, the body, isn't ready for yet. Okay, then hug both knees into your chest. And take happy baby, reach onto the insides of your knees and grab a hold of the outsides of your feet. And we're gonna finish with some little like supine hip openers and stretching. So set your feet down onto the floor. Open your arms out to the side. Cross your right knee over your left knee And shift your hips over to the right a little bit as you let your knees fall over to the left. Bring the knees and hips back to center. Change the cross of the legs. Take the hips over to the left a little, let the knees fall over to the right. Bring the knees and hips back to center. Then change the cross of the legs. Supta Gomukhasana, and cross the right knee over the left knee and grab a hold of the tops of your feet. Let the hips release down out of the back. Let the shoulder heads drop back down towards the floor. Change the cross of your legs. Then uncross your legs and stretch your legs out for corpse pose, Shavasana. Then gently bend your knees and roll over to your right side. Press yourself up to seated. Bring your palms together and sit tall. Thank you. Namaste. All right. Great job. Keep practicing and Urdhva will come. And sometimes that pose is also called Chakrasana, or the transition from going from a handstand into that pose and back over, because it's so stimulating for the front of your spine to help to open up the spine. And really all backbends are stimulating for your spine and for your nervous systems. But also they help to wake up the energy centers that run up and down your spine that correspond to nerve plexuses. So that's why anatomically it actually is stimulating for your nervous system, but also energetically. So that's something interesting and cool. Once you reach these like final variations of poses, there is some energy that dormant energy that opens up. But also we still want to keep practicing contentment. So make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, let me know how it went for you today. If you have some questions about it, I'd love to help. And also subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and thanks to Jacob for coming out again, and we'll see you next time.
So again, I just want to thank you for taking this challenge with me. I hope that you feel some benefits from it. And if you do, I'd love to hear that below. Also, just a reminder, head over to the Conscious Movement community and start the What's Next course. Keep your momentum going with your yoga practice, and I'll see you on your mat.